Good morning. I am the 19th Mr. Coahoma Community College, Jamichael Reed, and I will be singing "A Change Is Gonna Come." I was born by the river in a little tent. Just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there, yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. Beyond the skies. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. You see, I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me, brother, don't you hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. You see, then I go to my brother. Oh Lord, and I just say, brother, help me please. But they wind up, good God, they wind up knocking me back down on my knees. There was a time when I thought I wouldn't last very long. No. But now that I think I'm able to carry on, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will.
Now we'll have the introduction of the guest speaker by Mr. Jameson Hicks.
Good morning, everyone. I said good morning, everyone. Thank you, that's a lot better. I'm here to introduce our guest speaker, the Honorable Dianna Freelon-Foster. Mayor Dianna Freelon-Foster is a woman of extraordinary courage, faith, and perseverance whose life reflects the very spirit and purpose of Black History Month. A proud native of Grenada, Mississippi, her life story is deeply rooted in the struggle for equality and the triumph of hope over adversity. As a young student in 1966, Ms. Freelon-Foster stood on the front lines of history as one of the brave African-American students who integrated the public schools of Grenada. At a time when doing so required unimaginable strength, she faced hostility and violence with quiet dignity and unshakable resolve. Her courage as a young girl helped open doors not only for herself, but for countless others who would follow. Her educational journey began in the public schools of Grenada, where she demonstrated determination and a commitment to excellence despite the challenges of her time. These early experiences shaped her character and instilled in her a lifelong dedication to justice, service, and leadership. She is a graduate of Mississippi Valley State University and completed additional studies at Amherst College. Driven by passion to uplift her community, Ms. Freelon-Foster devoted her life to public service and civic engagement. In 2004, she made history when she was elected Mayor of Grenada, becoming the first African American and the first woman to hold this distinguished office. Her election was more than a personal achievement, it was a powerful symbol of progress, proving that barriers can be broken and that change is possible through perseverance and faith. Beyond her public accomplishments, Mrs. Freelon-Foster's greatest pride is her family. She is the devoted mother of 4 children and the loving grandmother of a host of grandchildren. Her legacy lives on not only through her historic leadership, but also through the generations she has nurtured, inspired, and guided. Her life stands as a shining example of what can be achieved through courage, determination, and an unwavering belief in what is right. From a young girl who helped change the course of history in Grenada to a trailblazing mayor and respected community leader, her journey reminds us that true greatness is born through service, sacrifice, and faith. Her story continues to inspire all who know it, reminding us that one person's courage can transform a community, and that the seeds of hope planted in struggle can grow into a legacy of leadership, hope, and enduring impact. Once again, I have just introduced the Honorable Mrs. Dianna Freelon-Foster. Would you please give her a round of applause, please. Stand, give her an ovation, give her a round of applause. This is not just somebody that we see every day. This is a woman-made history. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for whoever wrote the little bow. I am the mother of 6 grandchildren, some biological, some not. I am not the grandmother of a host of grandchildren. I just need you to know that. I just have a few. Somebody said I had a host. I know that wasn't anybody but Jeremy, Mr. Pittman. And that's because when he comes to my house, the 3 voices that he hears run him crazy. He says, I got to get out of here because I can't stand all of this. He doesn't know how to work with little children. Thank you. Thank you. Is anybody else besides me cold? Okay, get up then. Get up, get up, get up. Come on, get up. Get up. Okay, those 2 young men and the dancers were wonderful. All of the dancers. Let's thank them and give them a round of applause again. Those 2 young men, can they come back and help us get warm? Y'all do the music again. Where did they go? Did they step out? Come on. We're gonna take a couple of minutes, okay? And we're gonna jump with them so we can get warm. Come on, y'all don't know how to celebrate. I am 75 years old. I've been on the battlefield for a y'all said y'all were cold. Y'all don't act like y'all cold. Don't you feel a little better now? I was cold. I have lived and I have learned. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm 75 years old. If I die today, the world owes me nothing. I have given and I've also demanded. I have demanded from life what I believe life owes me, what I believe God promised me, what I believe the Declaration of Independence stated that we all should have. Am I correct? Today, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Pittman for inviting me. I'm not sure if he asked me, requested of me, or just told me. I'm not sure which one it was, but I do want to acknowledge, I want to just acknowledge your president, the president of the college, Dr. Towner, acknowledge any staff who may or may not be here, just giving acknowledgments and thanks for them, and acknowledgments to all of you. Greetings to all of you who are here this morning, and thank you for coming. I thought I was going to be doing something else, and when Jeremy, I saw this flyer and I'm saying, that's a mouthful. Reflecting on activism, public memory, and the endurance, relevance of Black History Month. And then he stopped there. The evolution of Black History Month from the life of an activist, lessons learned. And I'm just going to talk about a very, very few lessons that I've learned. First of all, since I've been identified as an activist, the activist handbook that I use says that activism is about taking intentional action to bring about social, political, economic, or environmental change. In other words, to alter the current situation. So an activist then would be someone who works to create that change. The change that I have worked a lifetime to create, because I need you to know who I am, not just what I do, even though what I do is connected with who I am. The change, and there's no confusion about this in terms of anyone who knows me, of what my activism is about. And that's about creating change around issues of racial justice and equity. We founded a organization some years ago. The mission was the same then, and the mission is the same now. That is not to say that we have not evolved around different issues. That is not to say we have not grown in areas where we know more, we've learned more, we strategize more, we do things differently. But I'm clear, our mission is still around issues of racial justice and equity. So my activism is from that perspective. And everything that I talk about this morning is from that perspective, Black history. Neely Fuller Jr. died in 2025. I'm not sure if any of you all are familiar with him, but he was an activist, an anti-racist activist and advocate who spent decades analyzing and confronting racism, which he termed white supremacy. His experience as a victim and observer of racial injustices led him to develop a framework explaining how racism functions in 9 key areas of human activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war and counter-war. Now, Neely Fuller Jr. has a quote that is still being used today. And it said, if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is, how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. And hence, I say that's part of why America is a cesspool today, because we refuse to acknowledge and understand white supremacy. That question was asked by several people in terms of America being a cesspool. And Dr. Allison Witt's answer was because the Confederacy was never punished after the Civil War. And I went on to not only say they were not punished, their insurrection was never acknowledged. And as a result, we still live in that. And now we're facing the erosion of democracy. And now it's not only us that are standing, but we're standing with many other organizations to work to assure that this democracy does not end. We certainly won't delve into all of what that means today, but I needed to give you that background in order to assure that you and I both understand my reflections on the subject matter that I've been given around lesson learned from my activism. I was reading, I know a lot about Coahoma Community College, been familiar, know a lot of people who graduated from here, folk who've been on staff here. And I understand that Coahoma opened its doors in 1949. That makes the school 77 years old, really only 2 years older than me. And so in that understanding that this school is only 2 years older than me, that means that I know a lot about the history of the school, and its the history of the school alone should say something to you about Black history. It should help you to understand white supremacy and Black history. Why? Because Coahoma Community College was founded in Coahoma County in 1949 as an extension of Coahoma Agricultural High School, Mississippi's first agricultural high school for Black students. What's your first clue that is connected to white supremacy and Black history? Well, just gave you your first clue. Mississippi's first agricultural high school for who? Come on, say it loud. Black students. Had America been the America that it was supposed to be, there would not have been any need for a school for Black students, because all students would have been in the same school. Hence, the need for a Black school, white supremacy. I went on to learn that upon the establishment of the college, the high school was renamed Coahoma Junior College and Agricultural High School. The college initially offered courses to Black students under the separate but equal doctrine. What was the second clue that I just gave you regarding white supremacy? Say it loud, don't be afraid. Separate but equal. Who was separate but equal for? Come on, y'all, who was it for? But who was it for? It was for us. For folk who look like me. Come on, y'all. I want to get to the lessons learned. I can't get to the lessons learned if you don't know who I am and understand what it is I'm saying to you. White supremacy directly connects to Black history. Understanding white supremacy is essential to avoiding confusion about all other matters. That's the greatest lesson I have learned in my activism. That is the greatest lesson I have learned. If you don't understand white supremacy, which is sometimes called racism, what it is and what it does, everything else you think you understand will only serve to confuse you. That is the greatest lesson I have learned in his core philosophy that was captured in that quote. Understanding white supremacy is essential to avoiding confusion about all other matters. I read it to you from your school's history. I ain't lying. I gave it to you from the school's history. It says this school was established to give an education to who? To who? To us, to Black students. To Black students. That was a need because we were not allowed under the separate but equal doctrine. We were not allowed to go to share a school. And that wasn't the fault of the children. That was the fault of adults. And it wasn't the fault of our descendants. Separate but equal. I think if you heard my bio, it said that at the age of 16 or when I was in high school, I was one of the students who did what? Come on, say it loud. Integrated the white high school. It was during it was coming out of the height of the 1960s civil rights movement. It was in 66. You remember Freedom Summer had happened across the state of Mississippi in 64, and then in 66, even after Brown versus Board, the schools still were not integrated, and there was no design to try to integrate them, right? That was in 66. Also in 66, even after the passage of the 1964 Voting Rights Act, even after all of that, there were only a very few African Americans voting in the state of Mississippi, not because they did not have the right to vote. That right had been given to black men when? Through what? Through which amendment? Through which amendment? Well, let me put it another way. In what years? Just give me a range of those years. After what? After the Civil War. After the Civil War, before Reconstruction. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments to the Constitution. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. It's important that we know those amendments to the Constitution. When did women get the right to vote? Y'all were left out too. We were left out too. It wasn't just black folk that were left out. White women were left out too. When did white women get the right to vote? Which amendment? Come on. 19th Amendment. 19th Amendment. That was when. So honestly, when that whole declaration, "We the People," was written, it did not mean we. We were not part of that "we the people." We were not part of that. White women were not part of that either, because they did not have the right to vote as well, right? It was white males, and oftentimes white males with what? Land and property, right? So America has never really been a fair country. Never, ever. But with Black history, it is our aim to make it so. And not just for Black Americans. I would say without a doubt that Black folk have been the only folk who fought for all of America. The Civil Rights Movement, many of the gains from the Civil Rights Movement were not just about Black folk. Who do you think benefited the most from the work of the Civil Rights Movement? White women benefited the most from the work of the Civil Rights Movement. So people would say to me, "Why do you always say Black? Why do you fight for Black? You're not fighting for everybody." I said, let me tell you this. Just the mere reason that I'm standing up for Black folk means that I'm standing up for who? Everybody. 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 But when other folks say public schools is for everybody, but yet all schools, but you still say separate but equal at that time, where's the fairness in that? And so when I integrated those schools, when I was one of those students integrating that school, it was all because we had been in segregated schools under the clause that said separate but equal. Separate but equal. And the authors, the the designers, the attorneys, lawyers, Thurgood Marshall, and all who were involved in that fight understood that where the power was. And so if power were in the hands of a specific group of people, then separate could never be what? Separate could never be equal. It could never be equal, because the same resources would not go to all of the schools. So that's my first lesson. My first lesson learned is that if you don't understand white supremacy, what that means and what that is, everything else will confuse you. And to understand that, I read a whole lot of books, still reading a whole lot of books, okay? You don't even have to read as many books. I hope that you do read some, because one thing about reading, there's always a reference section that's going to take you back to where this came from and where this came from and who did this and where this came from. So you get some credibility in the scholarship. Now, I can go to YouTube University and find out anything I want to know. Listen to any speaker that I want to listen to. Now, I have to be careful sending young people there, because sometimes when they go, they haven't, some things they don't know, so they'll buy into anything, which is really what's happening. And it's not only with young people, okay? Some people will believe anything that they see or hear because they've not been grounded in anything. So they go to that information and they believe it. And I'll do a disclaimer on this one, because this is not necessarily about politics, but I just want to give you an example. My brother, 2 weekends ago, went to a black restaurant in Memphis, and they were talking, because we're all loud, and they were having a heated conversation. And he was saying something about, they were talking politics. And so the black owner said, how can you all say that? How can y'all say that? That's not true. Our current president is the best one we've ever had. Our current administration, and didn't say it in that word. I'm just trying to say it so that I don't get political in this institution, not too political rather. And he said that, and everybody in here knows better than this, okay? But this is how, when you don't know. And he said, so what about January 6th? And y'all know what happened on January 6th 2 years ago, right? Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? What was January 6th, 20 what? 2020. Y'all know what happened when the Capitol was stormed at the installation of the president, and was it the installation? But anyway, the Capitol was stormed, right? And the person said Nancy Pelosi started that. Has anybody ever heard that? That Nancy Pelosi started the storming of the Capitol? Now that is just an outright lie. But she believes it. That's my point. She believes that. And so because she believes that, then she's influencing other people to believe that. My next lesson learned in my activism, and what is my activism around? What is my activism around? Come on, y'all. I talk to my audience. I'm sorry. What is my activism around? Racial justice and equity. Racial justice and equity. Now, in Ida B. Wells' day, they described folk who kind of like me as race people. Ida B. Wells was described as a race woman, okay? I consider myself a race woman, and I'm glad to be I'm really glad to know that I'm a student of Ida B. Wells. So that's my first lesson, that if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, you got to understand how it works. Everything else will confuse you. My second lesson that I've learned is freedom don't come easy. Freedom don't come easy. Now you may be thinking, now how does she move from white supremacy to freedom? And if so, guess what? Sorry to tell you, you don't understand white supremacy. It is what it is. It is what it is. You've not made that full connection around white supremacy and the need for Black History Month. Because if you did, there would be no question about the beginning and the continuation of Black History Month. It's the reason all of the sacrifices were made by Carter G. Woodson. Who is Carter G. Woodson? Come on, y'all. Who is Carter G. Woodson? Come on. Stand up and say it loud. The founder of Black history. Thank you. Woo! Carter G. Woodson, the founder and father of Black history, so dedicated that he made a vow of poverty. He sacrificed his life, never got married, never had any children, because he decided early that his mission in life would be to document, to research, to find out all of the achievements of Blacks in America. Now, I don't want you to get it twisted. I don't want you to think we have no history before we came here, because we did. But we're talking about our journey in America, our journey in a country that promised, that said in the Declaration of Independence, that said that we were to have all of these inalienable rights, right? Life, liberty. What is liberty? Freedom. That's what it is. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What's happening this year? What is the greatest celebration this year in 2026? 250 years. Y'all hadn't seen all those signs that say 250 years? 250 years? 250 years of the founding of America. Anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. 250 years. Taking time to pause and reflect on America's past, to honor the contributions of, as they say, all Americans, and look ahead toward the future we want to create for the next generation. There are so, again, I read and read and read and read, and I want to admonish you to do the same. Now, I know that everybody will not, and for those of you who will not, please go to YouTube University and use that as a resource as well. But the one book that I would admonish you to read is the 1619 Project by Hannah Nicole Jones. And that will give you a lot of information regarding the founding of America. What does that declaration say? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Freedom, connecting freedom to white supremacy. We've heard it from leaders through the centuries, from Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was born in 1818, died in 1895. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in 1929, died in 1968. We were still fighting for the same freedom and the same liberties. I can't give you all of the names of all of the folk that fought for freedom between all of those years. I gave you those dates and those births so that mentally you could connect the dots and understand why it's necessary to understand white supremacy. And that again brings me back to my second lesson. The first one, I've given you the first one. The second one, freedom don't come easy. Curtis Mayfield. Anybody familiar with Curtis Mayfield? I know some of y'all 60, 65-year-olds in here are. And some of y'all younger folk may be familiar if you look at old movies. Curtis Mayfield wrote the soundtrack to Superfly. Anybody familiar with Superfly? Do y'all go back and look at old movies? I go back and look at old movies. So Curtis Mayfield wrote that track. But in this particular song, he said, freedom don't come easy. You can march all day. You can kneel and pray. But the road is long and it won't obey. Freedom don't come easy. It ain't hand me down. You got to stand your ground when the walls come down. Man on the corner got wisdom in his eyes. Been fighting the system since before I was alive. Say, slow down, be patient, wait your turn. But every generation got a lesson hard learned. You can't see through the sound of a broken chain. You got to feel the fire if you want to see the change. Freedom don't come easy. It ain't smooth and clean. You got to walk through the dirt if you want to be seen. No silver spoon. It's the long, hard night before the morning bloom. They'll make you smile. Shake your hand real tight and lock the door when you ask for what's right. I'm talking about real freedom. Freedom don't come easy. But as a community activist and organizer, I can tell you this. It sure feels right when you stand up in the middle of the fight. It don't come easy, but it sure feels right when you stand up in the middle of the fight. Freedom don't come easy, but it's worth the pain, because the chains break slow, but they don't remain. Hold on, keep believing. Freedom don't come easy. That hold on, keep believing, that's to you, Jesse. That's to you, Jesse. Anybody in here know who Jesse is or was now that he is deceased? Call his name. Call his name. Call his name. I am somebody. I am somebody. Keep hope what? Keep hope what? easy. Freedom don't come easy. There is one, I'd like to leave you with this poem because it's a lesson I had to learn. The stanza that says, man on the corner got wisdom in his eyes. Been fighting the system since before I was alive. You know, we like to throw away people on the street. I'm guilty. I've been there, done that. And I especially did it with folk from the generation that came before me. Because during the civil rights movement, you know, some of us start calling many of our parents. I never did that, but some of us did. You can even hear it in the freedom songs. Uncle Tom and handkerchief heads and all of that. You got to be careful about that. Be careful about looking at our elders and not giving them what is due them because they have not made it to places that some of us made it to, right? And the poem that did that for me was a poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar, but then poem and did some additions. And anybody who had parents who have parents, I would say over the age of 60, or grandparents still living, and even some young people who understand the message from the poem, you'll get this. And the poem says, we wear the mask that grins and lies. It shades our cheeks and hide our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile. Why should the world think otherwise in counting all our tears inside? No, let them see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh my God, our tears to thee from tortured souls arise. And we sing, oh how we sing. The clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile, but let the world think otherwise. We wear the mask. When I think about myself, I almost laugh myself to death. My life has been one great big joke, a dance that's walked, a song that spoke. I laughed so hard I almost choked. When I think about myself, 70 years in these white folks' world. The child I worked for calls me girl. I say, ha, 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 ha. Yes, ma'am, for working's sake. I'm too proud to bend and too poor to break. So I laugh until my stomach ache when I think about myself. My folks can make me split my side when I think about myself. I laugh so hard I nearly died. The tales they tell sound just like lying. They grow the fruit, but eat the rind. My father spoke in voices that shred my fact and sound. They say, but sugar, it was our submission that makes your world go round. They laugh to conceal their crying. They shuffled through their dreams. They stepped and fetched the country and wrote the blues and screams. I understand their meeting. It could and did derive from living on the edge of death that kept my race alive by wearing the mask. When you understand the debt, I think the young lady read it in her when she gave her remarks. When you understand the debt that our folk have paid, You won't beat up on any of our people. You will not beat up on them. You would just say, come and read with me. Come and study with me. Come and learn with me. Come and share Black history with me. Come and celebrate with me about who we are, about what we've given. Wearing the mask. I'm just going to read 2 statements of freedom. Again, I told you about the 250 years. This is 250 years of America's founding. So NPR put out a call asking people to send in their thoughts around freedom. And one of the persons said, as a Black person, freedom is a promise that holds out the hope of self-determination, educational opportunities, and full rights of citizenship. It is the freedom to express and celebrate Black culture, history, and identity. It is the ability to create and sustain strong Black communities, institutions, and network. It is the right to vote, hold office, and participate in the political process without restrictions. Freedom hopes for the renewal of systemic racism and its impact on all aspects of life. It hopes for the light to due process, equal protection under the law, and freedom from fear of and reality of physical violence and exploitation. It is the freedom to associate, express oneself, and participate in a society without facing discrimination or segregation. Again, did you hear that? Peace around hope. To Jesse. To Jesse. To Jesse. I'm going to end with this poem that I know y'all have heard this one. It's by, the poem is by, give me a minute though. I think I may have got my page just kind of out of order. But if anybody remember in 2016, there was a young man by the name of Donovan Livingston who gave a Harvard Convocation speech. And it has been stated as one of the best speeches that was ever given. And in it, he said, Black history, understanding white supremacy. Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is a great equalizer of the conditions of men, according to Horace Mann, 1848. At the time of his remark, I couldn't read. 1848, y'all. I couldn't write. Any attempt to do so, punishable by death. For generations we have known of knowledge's infinite power, yet somehow we've never questioned the keeper of the keys, the guardians of information. Unfortunately, I've seen more dividing and conquering in this order of operations, a hideous miscalculation of reality. For some, the only difference between a classroom and a plantation is time. How many times must we be made to feel like quoters, like tokens in coin phrases, diversity, inclusion? There are days I feel like one, the only, a lonely blossom in a briar patch of broken promises, but I've always been a thorn in the side of injustice. Disruptive, talkative, a distraction with a passion that transcends the confines of my consciousness, beyond your curriculum, beyond your standards. I stand here, a manifestation of love and pain, with veins pumping revolution. I am the strange fruit that grew too ripe for the popular tree. I am a dream deferred. I am a movement, an amalgam of memories America would care to forget. My past alone won't allow me to sit. So my body, like the mind, cannot be contained. As educators, rather than raising your voices over the rustling of our chains, take them off, uncuff us, unencumbered by the lumbering weight of poverty and privilege, policy and ignorance. I was in the seventh grade when Miss Parker told me, Donovan, we can put your excess energy to good use. And she introduced me to the sound of my own voice. She gave me a stage, a platform. She told me that our stories are ladders that make it easier for us to touch the stars. So climb and grab them. Keep climbing. Spill your emotions in the Big Dipper and pour out your soul. To educate requires Galileo-like patience. Today, when I look at my students in the eyes, all I see are constellations. If you take the time to connect the dots, you can plot the true shape of their genius, shining in their darkest hour. I look at each of my students in the eyes and see the same light that align Orion's belt and the pyramids of Giza. I see the same twinkle that guided Harriet to freedom. I see them begin beneath their mask and mischief. Again, that mask. At the core, none of us were meant to be common. We were born to be comets, darting across space and time, leaving our mark as we crash into everything. A crater is a reminder that something amazing happened here, an indelible impact that shook up the world. Are we not astronomers looking for the next shooting star? I teach in hopes of turning content into rocket ships, tribulations into telescopes, so a child can see their potential from right where they stand. And injustice is telling them that they are stars without acknowledging the night that surrounds them. Injustice is telling them that education is the key while you continue to change the locks. Education is no equalizer. Rather, it is the sleep that precedes the American dream, white supremacy. So wake up, lift your voices until you've patched every hole in a child's broken sky. Wake up every child so they know of their celestial potential. I've been a black hole in the classroom for far too long, absorbing everything without allowing my light escape. But those days are done. I belong among the stars, and so do you, and so do they. Together, we can inspire galaxies of greatness for generations to come. No sky is the limit. It is only the beginning. I took off from the day I was in my mama's womb 75 years ago, and I'm still going strong. And I say to all of you all, lift off, lift off, lift off.
Once again, I have to come behind a dynamic speaker. Diana, thank you so much. Would you come up for a minute? We want to give you a little happy here from Coahoma Community College. You are a tiger now. I know you are a valley devil, but you are also a tiger.
Thank you.
Y'all join me in congratulating Diana again and thanking her. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
There's a fan in there too.
Yeah, it's a fan in here too. Courtesy of CCC Athletics. Thank you. All right.
At this time, our concert choir is going to come to you with a concert spiritual entitled Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen, arranged by Norman Luboff, G major chord. Now at this time, well, since our band actually played for you all a gospel classic, Can't Stop Praising His Name by Keith Princeton, we're actually gonna come to you with another gospel music tradition from our African American roots of the Black church, and we're gonna sing this song, All in His Hands. Hope that you enjoy.
At this time, we pause to acknowledge those whose leadership, presence, and commitment make this moment possible. We first honor the leadership of Coahoma Community College. In the absence of our president, Dr. Vladimir T. Towner, we recognize and thank him for his continued vision, stewardship, and unwavering dedication to this institution. His leadership ensures that Coahoma Community College remains a beacon of opportunity, excellence, and transformation. We thank Mayor Freeland for her sacrifice and leadership in the quest for truth. We also recognize our dedicated administration, faculty, and staff. You are more than educators and professionals. You are mentors, guides, and builders of futures. Through your work, you carry forward a legacy grounded in resilience, purpose, and the belief that education changes lives. To our students, you are the living legacy of sacrifice, courage, and progress. You should stand on the shoulders of those who endured so that you might have the opportunity to learn, to lead, and to rise. You are not only witnesses to history, you are its continuation. We are honored to welcome and acknowledge any elected officials and distinguished guests present today. Your presence reflects a shared presence, commitment to this community, and to the advancement of equality, opportunity, and hope. And finally, we honor the ancestors and trailblazers whose faith and courage and sacrifice made this gathering possible. Because of them, doors were opened. Because of them, barriers were broken. Because of them, we stand here today, not just in remembrance, but in purpose. Thank you all for being present for this meaningful and historic occasion. And we also have artwork by many of the students here.
As we bring this Black History Month convocation to a close, we are reminded that Black history is not confined to the past. It is an ongoing intellectual, cultural, and moral inheritance. It is a history shaped by thinkers, educators, organizers, and institutions that understand knowledge as a tool for liberation. We extend our sincere gratitude to our guests for contributing insight and perspective, and to the students, faculty, staff, and administration of Coahoma Community College for sustaining a tradition of academic excellence and communal responsibility. Historically, Black colleges and universities have long stood as places where critical thought meets purpose and where education is inseparable from progress. As we depart for this convocation, let us carry forward the responsibility to think deeply, act intentionally, and lead with integrity. May today's reflection strengthen our commitment to scholarship, service, and the continued advancement of our communities. Thank you.
Can we get a member of the choir to come for the alma mater? And can y'all please stand? program people, please come up for a photo.